Hi there. Welcome to Sex and the Diversity, a sex, sexuality, and love podcast. Tonight, I have a very special guest. You may know her as WokiesASMR, and here she will be introduced as Jasmine. So, Jasmine, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited.
I'm really excited that you're here as well. We were talking about this earlier. It's really nice to connect with other people in the ASMR community.
Yes, totally. I appreciate you.
Yeah, of
Thanks.
course. If we can just start with sort of the story, the origin story. Can you tell me about your journey into ASMR, like how you got into it? Were you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Okay. So, hello, everyone. I am Jasmine. I go by Jasmine and Wokies ASMR. I create ASMR on YouTube, and then I also have an OnlyFans platform, which I do erotic entertainment, which is very, very interesting. But so, how I first got into it, this was several years back. I had a friend of mine who was really into the ASMR community. I had no idea about ASMR. I was like, ASMR, what? Like, I had just had no idea. So he introduced it to me, and I started listening to Raffi Taffy. He's like one of the original creators. There was just something about the sounds that were just extremely soothing. And then you had that other aspect, which in the ASMR community, which is can be a little bit more sexual, more of like a niche aspect.
Mhm.
I kind of felt a little strange at first because this was kind of someone like I was talking to him, like, why are you watching this ASMR thing? Like getting insecure and stuff. I'm like, okay, let's
Oh,
take it back a step.
so he introduced like sexual videos to you. He showed them to you, or
No, he introduced me to the more, I guess you could say he didn't really introduce me to the risque, not safe for work.
okay,
I was just kind of insecure about that aspect because I knew
okay,
he was watching ASMR, and I'm like, I know what's ASMR because the ASMR community is known for it to be more sexual. And so anyways, I got over it. I thought listening to the ASMR was like, it's just extremely soothing and just, comforting. I was literally listening to it every night in bed for like a year. And then, I was at a full-time job and going to university, and I just kind of just wanted just to, I hated like having or being told what to do. So I was just, you know what, I'm just gonna quit. And then I started ASMR, and then here I am. So
wow! You say you took a leap of faith. You
yeah.
believed in the community. You believed in the future of
Mhm.
ASMR.
Oh, definitely. I initially just believed in being an online presence.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I just thought ASMR was just like the perfect route to go into. So,
And then did you watch other YouTube content previous to this?
I mean, I did. I I watched podcasts here and there.
Right.
I wasn't really diverse into YouTube. More so just like Google and stuff, but not really YouTube. Like YouTube has been completely foreign to me, and I've had to like navigate it, have to figure it out. But now all I do is watch YouTube, and now I'm fully consumed in YouTube, and I highly recommend YouTube and getting on the platform as soon as you can because there's 8 billion people in this world, and there's plenty of opportunity for everyone here, whatever your passion is. Um,
Yeah, and I asked Jasmine because I think that's fascinating, the fact that you were kind of going the traditional route, going to school, studying to have that typical 9 to 5, and then you almost dipped your toe and you saw a couple of videos and then you decided to just jump in and do it full time, which I think that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, it definitely does. But, I was like, I really have nothing to lose. And the pandemic happened. I mean, I was doing some odds and ends here and there, kind of like reselling things, doing stuff on the side. So I was staying afloat. Totally. I always have like managed to get myself out of the corner. Once you're like
Right.
put in a corner, you're always going to eventually find your way out. And so, I got into this. I thought, hey, this is going to be a really great opportunity for me. So, so here I am, so it's exciting. It's fun. It's a lot of fun and growing and very challenging too.
Of course, of course. And so when you were producing your content, you were starting out doing the ASMR videos. What made you kind of go into the girlfriend role play and that not safe for work content?
Okay, so I've always loved being admired.
Okay.
Like that's it. That's it.
I love how you're so honest about that.
I like attention too.
Okay.
Maybe a little too much.
No,
I don't know. But you know what? I'm not gonna apologize for it. But anyways,
that's great.
Especially during the pandemic, I haven't had as much, I guess you could say, like admiration.
Okay.
And I just think during this time, it is very difficult. And there's a lot of people out there that just want like nurturing and kind of just like a sensual energy, because a lot of people are used to going out to the clubs on the weekends. Now, I mean, during this time, that's not happening. And so why not make it a girlfriend thing? And so I remember my first video I did was girlfriend, I guess, tucks you, or girlfriend puts you to sleep. And I mean, I wasn't even looking my best. I was just like, you know what, I'm going to try it, put girlfriend in the title. And it was just me like, kind of briefly going over a book, acting like I'm asleep in bed, like, gently like caressing them to sleep. And I mean, that video ended up being a hit. So I was like, okay, girlfriend, it is pretty much, because once you find that thing, you just got to keep on doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you said that there's a part of you that likes the attention, that almost that exhibitionism quality. And then on top of that, then when you were able to explore that, those were the videos that got a lot of attention that allowed you to grow your channel.
Oh, yes, definitely. And again, I've been the center of attention of a lot of stuff. I mean, actually, when I was younger, I'd love to sing, and the first song I ever sung was like, I'm going to rule the world. And sometimes I think about that. I'm like, okay, here I am now, like just doing all these ventures. I feel amazing. Like I feel like the best I've ever felt before. So, yeah. So there you go.
Videos allows you to tap into your most powerful selves. And do you get turned on when you do the videos? Do you think about something sexy? Do you think about like a past experience? Like what inspires you to like be that?
So I think for me, all the content I create is from experiences and maybe like emotions I have gone through, and then I've kind of just carried them on in a sense. And so one could say it's like method acting, where you like derive your acting from emotions, like you pull it out like from within, and you just kind of like put yourself in that position, you know what I mean? And like in that moment. And for me, like doing this type of work puts me in those moments. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and
totally makes sense.
Yeah. So,
because I also, when I create my content, I like to think about like past sexy experiences, or when I was in a long distance relationship and you can't physically be together, right? But you have to convey that intimacy, that sensuality. And that's what helps me make the videos. And I just wanted to see if it's like a similar artistic process, or, you had something else that inspires you to.
Yeah, I think as a whole, it's definitely the whole gamut is like a creative process. You know what I mean? Like you're thinking of ideas. Like sometimes I don't ever have like a script or anything, but I do like to be prepared and like planned. And so it's definitely, just planning and, just kind of just being structured. But it's definitely interesting. For sure.
And then so you created your channel. It grew rapidly because you were doing the sensual girlfriend content. So then in the journey, what was the mindset? What made you then decide to do the OnlyFans route after?
You know what? Like I've been keen on like sending sexual things via technology, via your phone. I've always been a fan of that. I find it very arousing. I think it's different than in person, even though in person's great too. But I think like that digital communication is very intriguing and like sex. It's like one could say it's taboo kind of. And I really enjoy that. But for me going down the OnlyFans, I didn't want it to be like porn. I didn't want it to be like that at all. So I wanted it to be artistic, this is all like an art form, and I kind of wanted to like perfect it. And two, I knew this would help in my sexual endeavors, make me more of a confident person, which this has definitely helped me be a more confident person and more open to different sexual experiences.
Okay.
So this has been just like a healthy thing for me. But I think too, with the OnlyFans, I think it's just a way to express yourself sexually. And two, since it's on a camera, it's just very different on a camera. I think if this was like in person and stuff, it would be different because I don't do live one-on-ones. I don't do that. It's all pre-recorded.
Right.
I'm just not comfortable with that. I perform better when it is pre-recorded. And knowing too that like someone is like, feel good to this content, I think that makes me feel good because I mean, I just think that's awesome that
So you
someone
like
can.
the fact that people watch your content and get aroused. That
Yes.
okay, that's good.
Yeah, definitely.
I think your fans will love that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
And I like, knowing that like they're seeing me like being sensual and sexual.
Okay.
So,
and are there content on OnlyFans? Are these things that you've sent, past lovers or people you were in relationships with? Like, how comfortable were you with doing things on camera? Like, have you ever made a sex tape? You said that you did like electronic things. Like, what extent was that? Like sexting?
yeah, sexting, sending pictures,
Okay.
maybe a video here and there of like, masturbating and something, or, stuff like that. I know I'm out.
No, that's
I'm out there.
Yeah, that's good. So like you were already comfortable doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like it's the digital age. Like I'm a fan of sexting. Like I don't, and you hear a lot of people being like, oh, you should never sex. You don't know what's out there. And I'm like, well, how are you supposed to keep your partner happy? Like,
yeah,
we're
exactly.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, everything's out there. I mean, if you've seen my boobs, it's not really different from the boobs you've already seen. And it's just like,
right.
I'm not some unique wallflower. You know what I mean? And for me, I'm not worried about having my content out there. I knew going into this, there were going to be leaks. Of course, I was worried like my friends and family seeing it, but my friends have already seen it and my family members have already seen some aspects. And it's just like, I'm not worried about any of that. Just because I'm just not worried about it. Like, I don't have like a definitive answer for that, but I'm just not worried about it. I think it's fine. Like this will come and go. And then, I'll be so irrelevant in a few years. You know what I mean? So it's like, why not? Why not take this as like a stepping stone to like, venture out into other things.
Okay. And so your family and your friends do know about your OnlyFans and
oh yeah. And the YouTube. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And what were their reactions?
So for me, I didn't really tell my mom like halfway into the ASMR thing. My mother found out like, word of mouth somehow, probably through a friend of mine, who knows, not really sure. She didn't quite understand it. She, of course was worried about like the security aspect, which I am too. And I take complete security measures on my end, and I'm pretty comfortable. But she was really, she was really nervous about that, and I try to tell her, hey, it's going to be okay. I'm a grown woman, this is what I'm going to do. And, so I gave her like the surface level of what I do and stuff. And she automatically thinks it's porn. And so she doesn't want to hear anything else about it.
Okay.
And, my friend, she knew, or I first actually told her, like when I started, I first told her. And she was like, floored, she had said. And I was like, okay, like, wow, I thought like I could tell my best friend. Like, I didn't think I was going to like feel lonely in this. Like, I was actually proud of what I am doing. And I think it's like, it's creative. Like, I'm like an artist, and no one understood that or like really saw that. My best friend now, she's definitely more like interested. But as for my family goes, they don't really ask a lot of questions. So to me, I'm just like, oh, they don't really care. So I just kind of, they know about it, but they don't know, like, you know, like the belly of it, if that makes sense.
Okay, so they don't know the fact that you are exposed, like you're doing nudity or
Oh, no, they actually do know that, but
okay.
they're like, you know, oh, okay, you know, I've heard enough. I don't want to see anymore. Like they don't really ask like deeper questions.
Okay, just
So,
like
you
that.
know, yeah. And so it's like that's been lonely in that part. You know what I mean? Like not having like your family to talk to and stuff. But overall, like I'm just gonna keep doing, you know, what I'm doing because, you know, they're not always gonna be in my life and I'm just gonna have to just keep moving forward, whether they're on it or not, you know.
And I
So
think it's a human need, though, to want acceptance, to want support, especially from your inner circle or the people that you feel closest with in life. And sex work in general, it's just such a taboo area where there's a lot of just different opinions about it for or
mhm.
against. And I think it's definitely changing. And platforms like OnlyFans like normalizes the type of content. And it was also interesting what you're saying that when you just sort of mentioned a little bit of what you're doing, the automatic reaction was you're doing the hard, like the most hardcore things, which
Exactly.
it's a wide spectrum. So with that, is there something that you have like an absolute limit of something that you would just like you think that you will never do?
I will probably never do online sex, like, or I'm talking about sex with like another partner involved. I
Okay.
probably would never do that. And I do not show explicit genitalia because I
Okay.
still want to keep that kind of like a mystique.
Okay.
So, and again, I like to keep this more like of an art form and just where I can just be creatively expressive, but still keep that balance. So
Okay.
no orifices showing.
Okay, so it's just top. And so you
Yeah.
wear underwear then when
Yes.
you're
Yes.
doing your
Hmm.
so and that's something that you want for now, that's your boundary.
Yeah.
Okay.
For now, that is the
Okay.
boundary. Hmm.
And it's
And
always
I'm,
yeah, it's just it's such an interesting and I always find it fascinating just like the whole spectrum because what people consider sexual or not because some people would consider like nudity that would be more sexual than, creating being fully clothed but doing more arousing content like jerk off instruction videos or something that has like a sexual nature to it versus nudity doesn't necessarily have to be sexual, right? It could just be
it could literally just be art, and you could be
right.
standing there, and there you go.
Exactly. Or and it's interesting like what is I think it's making forcing people to think, just what are the boundaries of sexuality? Different people have different things they're comfortable with
Yes,
and navigating
exactly.
it.
Hmm.
And do you how are, the fans like how has that interaction been?
It's been really good. Interactions with my fans. I mean, nothing crazy as of yet. But no, I do start to gain a relationship with my fans. Like there are fans I talk to on a regular basis, and like I literally have like legit like long conversations with my fans. So I feel extremely comfortable with my fans. Like I feel like I am more comfortable with my fans than I am my YouTube community as of right now, just because I'm not on that level with the ASMR community. You know what I mean? Um, but the interactions, I mean, they're wonderful. I do like polls all the time on there and everyone's just interacting, like everyone's like talking to one another. And that's like what I want to do for both my platforms, that everyone can just like interact and it can just be a community. So it's been very, very good. And everyone's been so respectful of me and not pushing, you know what I mean? Like if someone will ask for like a custom video, we'll
Right.
go into details and all that, but they're always very respectful and throw out disclaimers like, hey, before I ask you this may be very strange, please let me know if you're not comfortable doing that. And so if I'm uncomfortable, we'll have a conversation, and normally it ends me still making a custom for them. So I mean, the platform's fans, they are fantastic. So
And that was something that surprised me as well, just how great and respectful the fans are. And I feel that sometimes fans can be even more respectful than previous boyfriends or partners that I had, just in terms of like pushing your boundaries. And that was surprising to me.
Very much so. Like as soon as like, but to being on that platform, you kind of have to stand your ground. You can't just kind of give in at all. I think that's where maybe a lot of women break, is kind of like not separating the two.
Right. Because you have to sort of just have your boundaries and stick with it. And you're almost building this intimacy then with this group of strangers, but you're talking to them and you're sharing like these kind of sensual and girlfriend experience content. So it's almost like it's like an electronic intimacy. Do you have fans that you think like you would ever date, or you would think like, hey, maybe I would have sex with this fan if we, we ended up meeting?
I could definitely say so. I definitely, like, before even dating someone, I kind of like to text to see what they're about, how they text, what they talk about. And there's definitely been some fans where I have had some really amazing conversations with. And as much as like maybe I would seem interested in one, like, oh wow, like the way they use their words, you can just kind of like tell someone's persona just from like messages.
Right.
But for me, I just keep it virtual, and that's all it ever will be.
Okay.
Just to be safe too. Like, yeah, just to be safe. I like to keep it kind of like, you're on that end, I'm on here. Yes, we're friends. Yes, we're, getting closer. I am doing intimate things for you, but I like to just keep it kind of separated.
Okay, that's fair enough. Sometimes I like to think of like a sexy scenario. My imagination will run wild. I'm like, oh, what happens if you're messaging a fan, the fan's really hot, and then you run into the fan, and then you just have like this wild night of passion. But I think like, would I actually do it? I don't know. So
yeah. Well, a lot of times too, like you don't really see like any pictures unless it's like their cocks, they just like send it to you, which I did have a feature of that on my OnlyFans cock ratings, and so they would send your dick for like, an amount of money.
What's a 10? What's a 10 cock? Have you ever given a 10?
God, I think I have once. I don't know. It might have been being nice. I don't know.
What was a lucky cock have?
To be honest, I think it's silly, like a 1 to 2 like scale. I would normally not do this, but when I first opened up my OnlyFans, there was someone on YouTube, I believe, that was like, hey, you should get an OnlyFans. I was like, oh, what is OnlyFans? So they told me about it. He actually helped me on the platform. Like he helped me create what's called a price guide, which you can put like your services and rates on there. And he was like, cock rating, $5. I'm like, what? Okay. I mean, I didn't think that's what I was going to do. I thought it was just going to be like the videos, the JOYs and stuff like that, photo sets and like looking sexy. It's like, I have to rate cocks now, but I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. And so I had to stick with like, let me rate your cock between a 1 and a 10. And, for me, it's been kind of like an experiment. I tell them, people who always ask, like, do you ever get tired of this? I'm like, you know what? I look at it as like a science experiment, like, just looking at all these like different like organs and like, I call them mushrooms because literally they look like mushrooms,
So are they hard when they send you the pictures?
Yes, most of the time. Yes. They're hard and like in the moment, they want to send their cocks for like, their rating, they're hard and everything.
Okay. Goodness. And then do they just want the number? Do they want like a description? Like,
no, I don't know. I think, I don't think they really assume. I think they're just like, hey, I'm getting like a 5, I'm just going to send them a video of a number 5. But no, normally I would before I stopped doing it. I don't do them anymore, but because it's just too many. Like I was like, I can't.
Many cocks like flying at you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, I would have to like they would pop up in the message like, oh, hold on, I got to get back to your cock. Hold on. And it's comical, and it's not that I'm laughing at them. I just think I was like, okay, I'm like making money, like just rating their cocks, but I'm pretty honest. And so I did 2-minute videos, did video rates of their cocks. And you know what? I would they would send 2 to 3 pictures and I would examine the photos. I would zoom in, I would examine their backgrounds. Like I would commentate on it all. And so that,
oh my gosh,
I know.
You're like a cock connoisseur. You're just like, it's like, oh, well.
Place, setting, and time.
Exactly. The shadow of the head, just like, it's just the way sitting at a it's so regal. It's so regal the way.
Hey, it all matters, okay?
Yeah,
all
no,
matters.
I imagine. Like, no, that's the thing that used to annoy me a lot, the most actually. When you just get lazy dick pics, like not from OnlyFans things. I'm just thinking my experience, like a guy just like pulled out a stick and like fluorescent lighting in like a random like bathroom, and you're just like, at least try, or like,
yeah, dude, that's
like
like
unflattering light. I don't know.
No, exactly. Like some of them, like I have literally commented on someone. They literally had like a bunny in the background and like a handmade quilt. And like, I don't know, just, I was like, and I like commented on it, but he still like loved it, you know? I could be assaulting them, but I don't. But I'm saying I could be, because I do like, hey, like, you know, nice, you know, jacket. I'm like, is that your grandma's? Like, I'll just joke around, but they'll love it. They love it. And they're,
so you have to comment on the setting, you comment on their actual cock, you comment on the angle.
Yeah, definitely. And I rate them pretty accurate. So
okay, so you're always honest.
Yeah.
Have you ever rated anyone a 1?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. I think the lowest I rated was like a 4.
And why was that?
I think it was the effort issue on my part and a limp. He was limp. And I'm like, okay, I can't really see. And the angle wasn't good. I'm just like, do you have any more pictures? I was like, and I even commented, I said, you know what, next time, why don't you try like an upper angle or maybe like a profile, so I can see it, so I can, measure it. But even if I measured it, like what really equates to a 10, you know what I mean? Your 10 may be different than my 10. When I did rate someone a 10, I think it was like, it even had to do like with his hand placement, like if his hands looked good, and it's like, I don't like when men shave everything down there. I don't think that's attractive in my eyes. Like I like hair on a man. Like if I want a man, I want you to be hairy. Okay. And so I'm like, and I've been told guys before, I'm like, hey, just let your pubic hair grow out. And I say, I think that'll look more masculine. And they're like, okay, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
I like this. You like offer criticism, you offer tips, you offer like the rating.
I feel like I'm becoming like their psychologist, like their sexual, like no joke. Like,
yeah,
because a lot of them will come to me like, with advice and stuff. And I'll, we'll go back and forth for like, a few hours here and there when I do get back to them. But
it starts with a cock, it ends with a convo. Like that's just
exactly.
I mean, and it's funny. It's
life.
Like opening the door to like
life.
Yeah, no. And because I'm just thinking like the OnlyFans perspective versus like the dating perspective, right? Because I know like my guy friends, I would tell them like, if you're texting a girl, like, and you depends how comfortable you are, like to give the cock pic. Like some of my friends, like some of my girlfriends, like they love it, they're into it, they get turned on just knowing that he's like hard for you. And then some of my friends just like hate it, they're just like, no, disrespectful. So I mean, it is kind of a crapshoot. I mean, I like cocks more in motion. So I think like if just to take it to the next level, maybe people could like send videos that just like, that's like more sexy, because
that's something else I offer.
Okay, great. So you also like, and there's so many things that like go into that. And I could talk about this like for a long time, because I was just thinking too, if people have like the humiliation kink, right, where they want you to just like degrade them.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
I'm wondering like the people that ask for cock ratings, like maybe they don't even want a positive rating. Like I would think you'd want to be like a 10, but maybe they're just like, no, I want you to like, degrade me. And
yeah, there are definitely people who do like that, that degrading or just that negativity towards them, I think, and I'm not sure where that stems from. I'm sure it just stems from something maybe from their childhood. I always go back to like your childhood, because your childhood makes who you are for me. And I just think that's for like a lot of people too. If we could just kind of like dive deep into our childhood, we could like unlock so many things that we may have, questions to now that we could answer. But
Yeah, are you offering that? Like, I'm like, wow, you go really deep that psychology when you're talking to people. You're just like, let's talk about this.
Yeah, well, okay. I think I was talking about the cum tributes, or was I? I don't even
No,
like
what is that?
remember.
Oh, no, I don't know about this. So
Okay.
tell me and I guess the people listening, what is a cum tribute?
Okay, so a cum tribute is literally a man or woman, which I have
Okay.
not received a female one yet. So it's a man. He will be jerking off, and he will be coming to your picture or your video, and he has to video that and him going, him releasing on whatever he wants to. So he will send you like a video of him releasing, pretty much. He'll send you a video of him releasing. So, and then, for that, it's like, a certain amount of money. And normally I'll just kind of like, just briefly talk about it, if it looks healthy, like the amount, if it looks healthy or not, and like the coloring and stuff, like I'll kind of not go into detail, but I'll definitely like just briefly like, talk about that. But I think some of them are sexy. Yes. When I receive them, I'm like, okay, let me watch that again.
Okay, that's funny. Yeah, no, that's
yeah. Some of them are like, okay, I see potential, I'm like,
right.
And I'm being very like empathetic because I do care about my fans and I'm not just trying to be a bitch either. Right. And I'm not sure if I was supposed to cuss, but you can,
you can say whatever. Okay, I'm already demonetized, right? What can they do?
Okay. Just making sure. But no, I do try to empathize with them. And especially, if they probably were nervous in the first place to send it. I try to, like, hey, let me ease your mind. It's okay. Like no judging here because I'm not perfect. And, I'm like, I'm showing you what I got. You can show me yours, even though I'm not really showing everything, but I just try to make them feel comfortable. And that's just to give them a boost of confidence anyways. And so when they leave the platform, and they go out into the real world, they will feel, they'll feel like a morale boost. Anyone, they just like, they like that kind of that validation a little bit.
Or to be desired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it all leads into even creating the content, doing OnlyFans. It's a way to feel desired. It's a way to feel sexy, especially during this quarantine. We have all this sexual energy, sexual attention. And it's a way to like unleash it while doing that artistic side too.
Yeah. And I've had so many people message me like how much they've like I've helped them like change their lives. Someone even told me like I've helped them not commit suicide. Like that is a huge ordeal to me. And what I go back to like my parents thing, that family aspect, I feel bad that they don't know like the impact I am giving out to people. And that kind of makes me upset because it's like I am doing like God's work, you know what I mean? In my opinion, and I've been told that. So,
you're providing a place where people can come and release this energy, and you also provide an energy back to them. And I think it helps with the confidence, makes them feel like uplifted.
Yeah.
In a way, obviously like motivational and positivity and quotes and things like that makes people feel good too. But I think like sexuality is just a big part of humanity, and to have that part of you like turned off or feel rejected, it just probably affects you in a deep way.
And to be honest, this has helped me like to keep that under control, to keep that energy flowing. So, and it's crazy, like just even just dressing up and like feeling sexy, like knowing like, okay, like I'm about to like turn some people on. I think for me, that bounces back to me and just gives me a real sex drive, which is really incredible. Like doing this work has literally like kept me healthy.
Okay. So do you think the work you create then increases your sex drive, or do you find that you need to have in real life outlets for all this like sexual energy?
I think it does help for now, during these times and stuff. It definitely helps. It definitely helps. But I couldn't always be satisfied with this type of, intimacy. Not at all. Definitely not. Like I definitely yearn for that physical intimacy for sure, like all the time. But this helps me to stay balanced, just to help me keep going.
You were saying you have sent nudes in the past to previous boyfriends, and then you've sent them to intimate partners. So do you think that doing this OnlyFans is going to change that in the future, just knowing that you've monetized that content?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. And of course, like if I did start dating someone, outside, I think they would just have to be okay with it. I know it may take like a certain mindset for someone to like, okay, my woman is just showing everything. But I think too, some men can find that like very attractive. Like, yeah, all these people could get to see her, but I'm the one who's touching her, who's feeling her, who's smelling her. You know what I mean?
Right. Like he's the only
Yeah.
one that actually gets to have you.
Yeah.
Everyone's desiring you. It's like you're sexy, you're desired, and you're the person, and then your partner is the person that's actually having sex with you.
Yeah, exactly.
It should be an
Yeah.
ego boost.
Yeah, exactly. And I know there's males out there, they're like, yes, show it all if you want to. You know what I mean? I think they find that just extremely attractive. And not even just like the tease aspect, like on the males, like, or the females, like, oh, you can't have me, but just like having the confidence to do that and just like feeling just sexy all the time. I think that's just, a huge turn on.
And in the future, like when do you think you would tell a partner about this OnlyFans? And
I'm honestly, if I feel a deep connection with someone, automatically, I get. I think my issue is I get very vulnerable in front of people, and I just kind of like spew out everything right then and there. Because it's like, if not, you're just wasting time, and there's no perfect timing. You know what I mean? So it's just like, just lay it all out here right now. Like, it's like, why wait? Wait for what? Until he opens a door for me. Wait for what? Do we have first time we have sex? No, just, just be honest up front. And it's on them, however they handle it.
okay. And it sounds like from what you just said and things that you said before, how you like to text and how you like to build that emotional connection, you need a lot of intimacy before getting physical, unless I'm wrong. Like, have you had one night stands? Like, do you, is there something like sexy about, being with a stranger, or do you need that like emotional connection?
I definitely need an emotional connection. I can be with someone and then cut them off. I haven't really had many one night stands. I've probably had like 2 in my entire life. And so, yeah, I'm not a fan of one night stands. And if I think I can have a connection with someone on the first date, why not spew all that out and just, just see where it goes.
Okay. And then see how the connection builds. And then you would tell them like straight up, like, listen, I do OnlyFans. I expose the top of me, and and you would just put it out there. So no, I think like everybody, that's always something people want to know. Like, do you sort of hide it? Like, when do you say these kind of things?
No, I'm very confident in saying it too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very comfortable with it. And, if they don't like it, then it's like, okay, someone else will, but again, I don't really tell all that information at the get unless I feel comfortable around them. And I think for me to be like extremely vulnerable with someone, I have to be extremely comfortable. Like, I can't feel judged. I can't, you know what I mean? I just have to be extremely comfortable in their presence. So, and if I'm comfortable with them, then yeah, I'll just spill my guts.
Okay. So it's like, and assuming once you get that comfort level, you build that emotional intimacy, and then you've had sex. What was just the best sex you've had? Was it when you had that kind of connection?
Oh, yes, definitely. And the best sex I've ever had is with I would call him my ex-partner, but he is someone I still talk to on a regular, like you could say like we're best friends. And I think having like for him and I is just such a deep connection on every level. Like him and I have always talked like, if I was dying, like I would want him to be there, like, by the bedside. And I think just for someone to say that, like, wow, like you guys must have connected in multiple ways. And so for him, I think it's the connection. It's the him knowing me and vice versa, and kind of knowing what each other wants, playing on each other's bodies and stuff. I don't know. It's just that has been like the best sex for me, or those times have been the best sex for me, like the best orgasms, like, you know what I mean? Knows the spots, and, and just vice versa. It's just all around. It's very good.
That's what I hear a lot, because a lot of times it's that trust, that intimacy,
Mm-hmm.
that connection that leads to the strongest and best orgasms.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, people are different, right? Some people, it's just some certain position that gets them off every time. So
yes.
yeah, I mean, because after just speaking with you, I know we don't know each other super well, but from what I got is just, it seems like the wildest thing then about your sexuality yourself is just the fact that you have an OnlyFans. Like, other than that, you're kind of like,
I'm actually pretty like reserved and conservative. Like, people think like, oh, I'm going to be so like, people on my fans like, oh God, I just wish I'd meet you. We fuck so good. I'm like, I mean, I'm not exactly like that in the bed. Like, because this is like a type of performance, you know what I mean? And so there's definitely a disconnect between that work and how I really am, in bed and stuff. And I don't think people understand that. People just think that, hey, that's how I am. I'm dressing up like in a schoolgirl outfit every day, giving you jerk off instructions. Like, no, that's not really how it is. Like, You may get that of me maybe a couple times, but it's not how I normally am.
Okay, so it's interesting. Like, your OnlyFans is kind of like a place where you can have an outlet for these kind of like these fantasies or things like that. So what was the wildest, most adventurous thing that you've ever done? Not in your OnlyFans life, your personal life.
Interesting. Oh my goodness. Gosh, I don't feel that like adventurous, I guess,
so
or wild. God.
It could be like outdoor sex, like.
Okay. So, I mean, I had sex in a vehicle one time, like going in a truck. I thought this would be super hot to like, start, sucking him off, and then like, getting on top of him as he's driving, which, yes, exactly.
How fast was he going?
I think, to be honest, I mean, was this on the interstate? No. Okay. It wasn't on the highway. I think it was just like in probably like maybe going 40, 45, pretty slow.
Okay.
I don't know why we thought it was a good idea then, but just so hot and heavy, it's just go with it, And so, yeah, I hopped in the front seat, and, my ass kept hitting the steering wheel, and obviously it didn't work out that well. So the angles, it just doesn't quite work out how you think. So that probably was, I think, one of the craziest things I've ever done. And since then, I'm not really into like, having sex out in public, because I don't want to get in trouble. That's the thing. Like, I'm not going to risk, everything I have just to, have sex in a changing room because he wants to do that. Like, dude, you have to wait, because I'm just not going to do that.
Right. I mean, no, I prefer like having more, I like intimacy too. So I don't really like quickies, because I'm like, I don't want a quickie. I want a whole meal. Like, I want to take my time. I want to feel each other. But I remember I had an ex that just like loved having public sex. Like, that was his thing. Like, it was like, I would just be so surprised. Like, once we were in a museum, and he's just like, oh, he tried to like find some like back closet, and he just wanted to like have sex in this museum, like in this like leave the exhibit and have sex, and then just like go back to the exhibit. I'm like, oh, this is so like, it was
hold on, it's like, am I ready for this right now?
I know, like, I literally had to go like places without underwear, because I just had, like, there was no time, like, and I was just a logistic. Okay. I don't know. That was his thing. And I always try to be like accommodating, because
yeah, of course.
In terms of like, I've dated some guys that had like more outlandish things that they were into, and I generally am accommodating. The only thing, I mean, I could say like my only limit is a certain thing, but like, like my only limit is like bodily fluids kind of thing. But other than that, but I was just watching just documentaries and shows, and, some people can get into like really crazy stuff. So I'm like, okay, compared to that, I'm not so crazy. But
yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, I've definitely come across interesting aspects, but nothing like so horrific. Like, I think for me, like one of the most interesting things has been someone asked me to wear a diaper. I did decline that one, because I don't think I could have put myself mentally in that role play.
Okay.
I did try to think about it though, because, you know, it's like, okay, let me just see if I can do this. But, you know, he just wanted me to wear a diaper and then like get it wet, maybe even pee in it. I'm like,
Oh, like
okay.
pee. Okay. And you wanted to see that. Like,
Yeah, and have like, you know, a little pacifier and stuff. And I'm like, hey, that's your thing, but I'm just gonna decline it, you know, because I had other stuff, you know, going on. So I was like, don't have time for that right now.
okay.
You know, I have to get like in a headspace.
Right. So you do have like a limit when it comes to just the fantasies too that people will ask you. I'm noticing in terms of just like things that people have asked me. I've never had somebody ask me about like a diaper, but some things I kind of like. I'm seeing a lot of people really like the stepsister, step sibling thing, and I'm just like wondering like where does that? It's like, is it like the somewhat forbidden? It's like not quite incest, but like it's like the step, you know, above. So and that just made me start thinking like, what are the things that I would just say like absolutely no to? Or so like somebody offered you like $1 million to like wear a diaper and pee in it, would you do it? Or is it like
I mean, $1 million just to wear a diaper and pee? Probably yes.
okay, okay.
It's like,
So
okay.
it's like, okay, so it's not something that
It's not something that's so forbidden. Like that's just in my, you know, do not file. No, you know, if
for the
there's
right
a little
price.
bit, exactly. I think everything is for a right price, but you know, that's another little situation. But the step brings me back to the stepmom thing. So I was actually recently demonetized for typing in stepmom tucks you in. And after the fact, after I had received an email that I was demonetized, I was like, are you, I mean, I thought like my life was done. I was like, here we go. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, people, have we not seen like the music videos? Like they're
Right.
literally naked. Like I'm not. I looked back and that was one of the forbidden words was a stepmom. And so that got my channel demonetized. I'm like, I guess you can't be a stepmom.
Can you imagine like a stepmom tip, like an actual stepmom? She's like
God.
tips for being close with your kids, or you know, like tips for new stepmoms, and like her channel's
Exactly.
demonetized.
Exactly.
That is so
Um,
crazy. It's like I guess they just have like trigger words that doesn't really
they
matter.
really do. And well, I was going to say, because I have looked at your content and, you
Yeah.
know, you haven't done too much, you know, overtly like sexualized things. But I'm just curious. I just wonder why your channel did get demonetized because I mean, I guess because it's more solely focused. So I could definitely see that because I just had reapplied to get monetized again. And I am monetized now again.
Okay.
But I'm not worried about it if I ever do get demonetized again. But I just know not to use step parent or just don't use stepmom, stepdad. I have used like daddy, you know, daddy sucks a lollipop for you. I have like put that in a title and that didn't get dinged. So it was just the stepmom. So yeah.
Yeah,
Stepmom role plays are very taboo, I guess.
it's just don't be a stepmom in life.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll so no, I mean you asked an interesting question. I was demonetized and I actually didn't even think about like trying to
Mhm.
contest it. And I sometimes think that I'm like unfairly like I guess punished by YouTube because even if I do like clothes scratching or something like that, I haven't done anything even that risque or taboo. Like I'm fully clothed and everything. I don't
Mhm.
even show like I don't do any bra or underwear. But I think it's just because like I have big breasts, you know, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, which is something I can't help, right?
Yeah.
And I've just seen the different type of content. I did see the big thing was with Belle Delphine. Her channel was actually like shut down. And there
Oh,
was a
wow.
lot of controversy. I mean, that was like the topic people were talking about. Like, why is this kicked off of YouTube? But exactly like Cardi B and WAP, and that's allowed
Mhm.
and even promoted. And if you see like a Nicki Minaj music video, she's wearing like even less clothing and she's like shaking her breasts and like,
Yeah.
but that's like artistic and considered part of the music video. And YouTube has like
Exactly.
all these like different like I guess criteria, but
Mhm.
it's like their platform, I guess. There's nothing really.
It is, and it's definitely frustrating too, because I mean, ASMR is an art. Like it is an art, you know. But I do hate the bad rap that ASMR, you know, has, or what some people in the comments tell me, like, you're just part of the, why ASMR is, has this bad like sexual rap and stuff. And I'm like, you have to evolve, people. Like, we don't want the same ASMR of 10 years ago, do we? You know what I mean? It's like, come on, people. Like, we have to evolve with the trends. Like, we have to keep up with the trends, and that is factual.
And the beautiful thing about like YouTube or just content creation in general is that you have the artistic license, you have the choice. Like if you want to not do sensual girlfriend role plays or anything that toes a line, you can totally create that. And if you want to explore that, you can do it yourself. And it's not something, I don't think it like takes away from the purists or anything. Like,
that's true. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's like there's like two sides to the ASMR community, You have like the more like reserved or whatever, I don't know, but you have that, and then you do have the more risque ASMR. So, people can pick and choose. They don't have to just, watch this or just watch this. But
do you have any like ideas of other things that you're interested in apart from the ASMR, things that maybe projects that you want to do in the future?
Definitely. I'm huge into neuroscience and science and just physics and AI, or, artificial intelligence. I'm just like extremely interested in that, and medical. Like, I don't know what it is. I just find such great pleasure, like learning these topics. I feel like for me, when I delve into like a really good like medical book, I'm just like enthralled, and I can actually conceptualize like what they're saying. And so for me, those are huge passions for me. And I definitely, obviously like I want to write a book one day of just like, this whole process and, just like the journey. And I think that's just really incredible just to share like your knowledge. But I did actually just had set up another interview. This is a lady, she's a psychologist, and she wants to interview me for a chapter in a book, which she is writing. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. This is like, I never thought, that was never even a thought. But I feel like for me, the more I'm genuine to what I love and like, those things just come to me. And it's very, very interesting and kind of weird. Like I'll just be, so real quick, I like physics, and I've been kind of listening to a lot of podcasts. I don't know if you've ever heard of Lex Friedman. He's a professor. He does a lot of artificial intelligence podcasts, you name it. But anyways, he was speaking to a scientist who had just developed the fundamental theory to physics. And I just was like, wow, this is so incredible. Anyways, a couple weeks go by, I get an email from someone who is down the line on this project. And I was like, what? Like,
wait, how did they find you?
Exactly. I'm like, okay. I'm looking around like, do I have cameras in my house? Because this is stuff I just do on the side. Like in my videos, I may mention like, I like physics and I can get deep about, certain topics or whatever, but I just keep that kind of linear. I'm not like diving too deep, but like I had a really incredible opportunity to create like an educational film to explain the fundamental theory of physics. And I'm like, holy shit, like what? You know what I mean? Like, is this happening to me? You know what I mean? I'm like, hello?
Somebody just found the video of you mentioning it offhand about your interest in physics.
It was just someone in the community, or it was someone in this project that thought ASMR would bring new light, like fresh new light to physics.
Okay.
And he said he came across my channel and thought I would be a really good candidate to propose this project to. And I was like, wow, like this is really incredible. And like things like these, like this, I wish I could share to like my family, but they just wouldn't understand. And sometimes like me just telling you that, like, I'm like, oh wow, like I feel really good about it. Cause I'm like sharing good news to someone that, I've just met, but I do feel really comfortable. And I just feel bad because too, like my family can't be involved in that, but that's just something that has, been brought into my universe. So it's just amazing. Like I could never have imagined doing any of this.
I think that's something people don't really understand until you actually are a content creator, that sometimes you're doing something that you're passionate about and your work you never know who's seeing your work. You never know how it relates to another subject you're interested in. I think a lot of these things, how you were saying, it's interconnected, right? Because he wants to do a study about ASMR and the effect on physics. So, and obviously he would have never been connected with you unless he came across your channel. So
Yeah.
it's just, and like, there's all these connections, things happening, and you, by living like your traditional life, working in a 9 to 5, you're just never exposed to these kind of opportunities. And
exactly.
yeah, and it just takes you down kind of like a wild road.
It's like, all right, here we go. It's like, I didn't even ask for this, but okay, I'm going for the ride. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm not ready. You know what I mean?
I'm sure you're going to do great. I mean, you're passionate.
I appreciate it.
You can talk about, you're well-spoken.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So it's, it's like, it's crazy because I sometimes I don't even know like what the future is going to hold. Like, you're just scratching the surface on this. And that's the cool thing about ASMR. It's like, I mean, I know that the first videos were uploaded maybe I'm going to say like 10 years ago. I don't know if there was something like a little older, but so if something's like 10 years old, that's still kind of in the beginning, like the stages. It's definitely something that's going to be explored more, fleshed out more. People are going to do more studies, and you just never know like what it's going to, end up in. And
no, for sure. And like, I try to preach this to like my friends and like even siblings that, hey, like there is huge opportunity and growth just on YouTube in general, and just being on a platform, even just starting a TikTok and just doing some dances. Like there's opportunities there. We just like, I think to me, if people don't really know how to use the tools that are handed to them or that are literally even just given to you, like our computers and our cameras, like what immaculate things these can do for us, and just the opportunities people are missing out for not creating. And so I do try to drive that home to a lot of my friends and families, because it's definitely changing my life. Has it been difficult? Oh, yes. Has it been confusing? Hell yeah. It's definitely been confusing. Like, you know what I mean? Like this pull and tug of, like you said, just going to like corporate America and doing the 9 to 5 and then just quitting and then just jumping into this platform where it's like, you don't even have to have a degree. That's, normally unheard of. You know what I mean? Like just jumping into something and just like, oh, we'll just see how it goes. But there's just so much opportunity just creating, like I said, just even on TikTok. I mean, there's just so much.
I think this is a good place to wrap it up, right?
Okay. Yeah. It's been wonderful. I know. I
know you have like so much to do and everything, but it was really good speaking with you and chatting with you about like, I guess like a lot of different subjects.
That was great. I really appreciated everything.
Of course.
So this was awesome.
And it's really good to like connect with somebody who's like, first of all, doing ASMR, doing like breaking new barriers in the not safe for work ASMR, growing her channel, and like interested in so many different things, like passionate about life. And, like, I don't know if I introduced you as a rising star, but that's how we'll end it off. It's like definitely a rising star in the community. And obviously, if you're watching or listening and you haven't checked out Jasmine's Onlyfans or channel, definitely check that out. Make sure to subscribe. And from the content that I've seen, it was great. So I think you're going to be very successful.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. And you have been such a wonderful host. Seriously, so easy to talk to. This has been like a pleasure.
Oh, that makes me feel so happy.
Yeah. I have a new friend now.
Yes, definitely. I will still keep in touch. I know it's like when digital content creator, it's like kind of like a lonely world, but.
Oh yeah, definitely. But that's why we have these outlets. And so I think, if we can continue to grow this bond and this community, I think, we could all become like, maybe a more like tight knit, like closer group. And I think that would be really incredible, just to hold each other accountable and like feel like we do have people to lean on and to talk to. It just feels good to feel understood too.
Yeah, and thanks for taking the leap of faith and having a conversation with me.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
Awesome. All right, well, I'll let you go.
All right. Bye.